and welcome. This is Political Arena Platform Media International. I'm yours sincerely, Joe Ehizode. Tonight, we are looking at the changing face of religion in Nigeria. Of late, there have been many debates, counter and pro, about the activities of religious officials in Nigeria. I mean, the pastors, reverends, and prophets. Don't get me wrong. When I say religion, I mean the entity called religion. It's not the Christian religion all over. So, what are the activities of the leaders of religion in Nigeria? Tonight, I have in the studio with me Nzeadibe on my right and Ebenezer Badewa on my left. Guys, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
It is becoming very necessary for us to take on this issue. It's sensitive, but we cannot run away from it. Lately, there have been many stories about the activities of religious leaders. More especially, we have religious leaders who are living very affluent life, where their followers are wallowing in poverty. It is the case, is that the right way, or is that what the Bible says? We also have a case where some religious organizations have good universities and high institutions that they built, and their members who are poor cannot attend. Is that right? And if it is right, how can you justify it? Let me start with the Ebenezer Badewa. What is your take on that?
Like you said in your introduction, that it's a very sensitive issue, but we can't shy away from it. It's a part of a way that we can see how we can build the country, because thank God we are here in the Western world. Everywhere we go, we can see in history that this country was built on a religious ground, like the way the country was in the beginning. Because until 2013, there are most cities in the eastern part of Canada that doesn't open on Sundays. Sunday is old as a sacred day that they don't. So that shows how deep they are in their faith, in their religion. But when we look around us, we see religion here is about charity, not only Christianity. If you go to any of the temple, any of the Indian temple around here, you can branch in any time and eat. And if you need stuff, they supply what you need, like the charity give out, and that's what it is. And for those people that their children still go to Christian schools here, we see how they embrace people and the quality of education they're having there. So in the case of Nigeria, I think so many Nigerian pastors are gradually missing the basis of religion or the faith base. Because we all know when we were growing up, we saw Anglican, Catholic, Baptist, and so on. Yes, there were free education, but these people came to even enhance the free education in the country, because their schools then wasn't based on your faith, except maybe one or two of them that said you have to be a member of their church. But I know for the Anglican or for the Catholic, for the Baptist, they don't care what is your religion. So it's a high time that Nigerians have to wake up, and we have to see how we can readdress this thing before it gets out of hand.
Mr. Nzeadibe,
yes.
He mentioned something that religion, the country was built on faith, perhaps on religion. Do you agree with that? And one more thing. I know the justification for the religious leaders is that you eat where you walk. That's what I keep hearing. Is it the case? Is it justified under the Bible that you leaders of religious communities or organizations should live affluent life, and the gap between them and their followers is so wide? Is it right, or is it not a sin?
I think to understand the situation, we need to go back to the beginning of times
Okay.
about religion in Nigeria. I guess that active religion in Nigeria could have started about 1940, 1930. You know, at that time we had the normal churches like the Catholics, the Anglicans, the Baptists, the Adventists. You know, up till about 1990, it was normal. People went to church. Now, in 1990, something significant happened. The Nigerian economy started going down. Now, churches stepped in to give people hope, to preach to people that if you paid your tithe to us, if you trusted us, we will pray you back into employment. We will
Pray you back into prosperity.
And so prosperity religion started. And now it started gradually until the pastors acquired better skills on how to trick the money out of their congregations. And then pastors started growing rich while the congregants started or continued dwindling in poverty. Up till this stage when the gap has become so wide that pastors have become multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires. And members of the churches are asking, is this the way to go? It's a complete departure from what we had in the 50s.
Because you're saying members of the church, it's so divided in Nigeria now, for and against, especially when it comes to issues like tithes. Now it's come to issue like leaders of church, leaders of other religions, living very affluent life, having private jets, having big houses, wearing expensive clothes and wristwatches. Now, when their followers are not even in this of living below poverty level. Now, the question that everybody's asking, well, how did we come to this? That religious leaders are no longer, does not have the moral scruples anymore. As long as they go to the pulpit every day to preach and let people follow them blindly for whatever they say, and they are not assessed by what they say.
Well, again, I will go back to what Ebenezer said earlier on. The people should hold their leaders accountable. To me, those religious leaders are not representatives of Christ. They are not humble like the man of Galilee. They are not willing to give their life for the people they lead. They are not shepherds of the flock. You know, they do not provide for their flock. So their members should outrightly know that these people do not represent Christ. Religion in Nigeria has become a multi-business
okay, I guess where this loophole comes about is that it's only in Nigeria that churches or mosques are not accountable to the government. They're not taxing the system.
Well, it should be self-regulatory, but the Nigerian religious authorities or people who are leading out in religion in Nigeria are begging the government to step in and control them. You know, and that is going to create a different crisis because they have been so irresponsible in their conduct that no government will keep closing their eyes over what is happening in Nigerian Christian churches. And I will, for one, vote for them to be controlled. I want to see a general overseer of a church have a period for which he will be a general overseer.
There's a law to that effect.
I also want to have him paid a capped salary. He should not be a general overseer and the chief accounting officer of a religious organization. That is a recipe for crime. You know, you cannot dip your hand into the purse of a religious organization. It never happened in the Presbyterian Church. The Catholics never did that. The Adventists never did that. Why should we have Pentecostal churches now collect all the monies and deposit it into the pastor's bank account for the pastor to use as he pleases? Where did you get that kind of formula?
You see, just to address that area, the problem is still the people. Now, I can assure you that it's not all general overseer that actually dip into the church money.
But where do they get the money to buy private jets?
Imagine if you have a pastor or an overseer,
yes,
that have almost about maybe 100,000 followers.
Yes.
And this same pastor has written books of almost about 50
Okay.
or 60. Now, if you sell those books for maybe 100 naira, you know how much it's going to realize.
Mr. Badewa, it's
So
not only in
that's
Nigeria
another-
that pastors and reverends write books.
It's not. Listen,
But
it's
why-
not only in Nigeria.
Yes.
Other country you're talking about, there is check and balance. Not that I mean there are others in the Western world that are private jet.
Mr.
and
B,
so
you
on.
refuse to
But-
you refuse to nail it on the head. In the Western world, the churches pay taxes. It's regulated by government.
They don't pay tax, but they give account.
They give account
Yeah.
to the central government.
At least
Revenue Canada, for
80%
instance.
of their income
Yes.
has to be spent on the welfare of the church.
Okay.
Right? They have room to save maybe about, say, maybe 10% of their collection for maybe acquiring buildings and so on and so forth. But at least 80% of their annual generated fund
Revenue.
has to spend within the system.
But it's not like that in Nigeria.
No, there's no accountability.
But does the government have the way power to step in when president go and pander to leaders of the church, the ministers go
Sorry,
to
sorry,
pander?
Mr. Joe. Another thing we should learn to understand that Nigerians, we are a giver. If you are blessed, the first thing you're going to think of is how you're going to be a good man to your pastor. If you bring 5,000 to your pastor this month, and Mr. Obi bring 5,000, and the other I bring 5,000.
You know, there's a culture. You see, there's a culture of fear, and there's culture of fear and culture of impunity. Fear in the sense that you have been made to believe that the pastor have been elevated to a position of a deity, and that you have to submit to the whims and caprice of that pastor. Otherwise, things won't go well. And there's culture of impunity because this pastor have elevated a step to the position of a deity that they say they speak from the word of God. And if you don't listen, things will not go well. And people have become so fearful about such words that they pander, they submit to the ways of the pastor. Let me tell you one more thing. If somebody who is hungry is vulnerable, Nigerians are vulnerable because they have so much need. People don't have power. People don't have money. They don't have food. Women don't have children. Parents who don't have children submit to the ways of the pastor. People who are looking for jobs.
And their only hope is in the church.
Yes, people who don't have jobs submit to the ways of the church.
That was
and they become vulnerable. And therefore they are taken for a ride.
That's why
now the question I want to ask Mr. B, before you, maybe you have something to say, but when you address that, come to my question. Does the government have the willpower to say regulate the church in Nigeria?
Oh, they have already started it. They've made a rule that general overseers cannot spend more than 2,000.
Let me come in there.
Yes.
There's a rule like that. That was why the overseer of a Redeemed Church, Mr. Adeboye, stepped down. But the vice president of Nigeria, who is a member of the Redeemed Church, reversed that, and the man who effected that was fired. You know that.
I didn't know that he was fired.
He was fired.
But whether he was fired or not, we have come to the realization of the need for general overseers to have a term.
They made that law alongside that the leaders of banks should not stay in one position for 10 years. Banks are obeying that, but churches are not obeying that.
Oh yes, the Christian church in Nigeria in recent times have been reckless in their conduct. An overseer wants to pray for me to God. I can also pray to God for myself. You know, he doesn't need to. And Nigerians need to realize that you can have a right standing with God. He doesn't have to do anything with your general overseer. The fact that general overseers have private jets is wrong in a country like Nigeria. It is not wrong for Christian churches to own universities that are expensive. You know, it is the practice all over the world. But these Christian universities put in motion a mechanism that enables any student of that church, no matter his financial wherewithal, to be educated in such schools.
Okay. The other issue that's so much scary is that the emphasis is no longer on spiritual good, but prosperity. What's your take?
Because it is the need of the time. You know, the people are hungry. They have no jobs. Ladies are married. People don't have children after marriage, and they point these things to sinister forces in your life, which they alone have power to deal with. But they are not dealing with it because the situation continues to worsen every day.
Is the church helping cohesion, unity amongst our people?
Yes, it is.
How?
It is. Akim Bode, or what was his name, who was the managing director of Intercontinental Bank, was jailed, after he came back from England. One general overseer of the Redeemed Church paid his bail.
Okay.
And he hasn't been tried anymore. Most of the monies that are stolen in Nigeria end up in churches. That's how this
that's the question I asked. Has the church brought about unity in Nigeria?
It hasn't.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking that, because I grew up in my village. In those days, there's this traditional worship there. Everybody is free to worship. And we dance around at Christmas, we dance around the village, collecting food and money. We don't even look behind before we eat. And the last time I visited my village, it is wrong for you to get too old. You become a suspect of being a witchcraft or a witch. It is wrong for people now no longer trust each other to eat their food. And I asked the question because there's suspicion. What brought about that suspicion? If you dig deep, it's under the pretense of religion. That's why I asked that question. Has that brought back unity?
It hasn't brought unity. How can you imagine a building, 4 flat or 6 flat building in a typical city in Nigeria? All the 4 or 6 flat would be of different churches. That's barbaric. And every one of them will have their megaphone, their speaker outside. So, I know the Muslim faith does it, but this thing is like infringing on people's right.
What is wrong? Is it right for somebody to just wake up overnight and become spiritually gifted and begins to lead a church?
Once you are,
that is personal, though.
It's personal. I mean, you see, many. It said, "Go ye." I mean, the Bible said, "Go ye and make a disciple of all nations." It is true, we can make disciple of all nations, but there are things that both the government and the citizen has to work around. Here in North America, the cities sit down and they zone where they can allow church to be planted. If the building or the area is not zoned for things like church, no amount of money or influence you have, you can't build there, or you can't even rent a space there.
Yeah.
So it's high time that Nigeria has to control all these things. The government, the citizen, people to start, because we're making, like you were saying, I remember those days. I went to a school, when I left the city, I went to a school in a little town. I can walk in the middle of the night from there to another 3 kilometers to see relatives in the other village, and nothing will happen. But today you can't try it. Meanwhile, there are churches all over the place.
Okay. Now, final question to you guys. Is it right? Is anything spiritually wrong praying with kola nut? Is kola nut equated with idolatry or fetishness? Correct?
Well, maybe in the 50s, yes. The white man taught us that everything African was fetish. Now we are becoming smart, we are becoming wise. We understand that God created some things for us in our community. And so there's nothing wrong in praying over a kola nut. It was a practice of our fathers before the coming of the white man. And our four fathers were not... some of them were not Christians, but many of them were upright men and women.
And even when they pray, there's direction to God.
Oh yes, they didn't indulge in evil. They didn't fornicate. They were upright with their wives and their children. They were men of caliber. But to the Western mind, they were pagans, and pagans were sinners.
Yes.
Now we could have agreed with them then that their assessment was right, but now we know better. We live here, we've seen their conduct, and we are beginning to reject their ideas and interpretation of the Bible. We know they wronged our parents, and it is our duty to correct some of the evils they taught us.
Mr. Badewa, finally, there's this argument that because God is a patient God, sorry, because God is a patient God, people take advantage of that. And therefore, that's why you find government officials who are steeped in the church find dipping their hands in the public purse and being corrupt. And somebody even advocated that for these people to get into power, they should be sworn, taking an oath of office with African traditional religion. I give an example. When I was in Benin, there was a riot in Benin, and people went to Oba Market to steal rice and looted. And the Oba of Benin asked the traditional religion called Ayelala to come out and dance, and they gave people who looted 7 days to return
the rice.
And they returned it. But because God is a patient God, if you tell them that the Bible said not to steal, God will punish those who sin, they won't. What is that?
See,
so people have taken religion as a routine rather than as finding the face of God.
One thing that we Africans, we seems to neglect is that the white man didn't bring God to us. Long before the white man came, we know God.
That's exactly what I just stated.
You understand?
Because even when they pray with kola nut, then it was God.
We know God,
gave us this.
right? We might not have the Bible.
Yes.
There is still a church in Benin up to today that the Oba of Benin do attend once in a while. This church has been in existence way before the colonial. No, you see, we get so many things wrong. They keep saying the white brought civilization to Africa, to some other African country, but not to Nigeria, because we have the Edo, the Benin Kingdom, we have the Oyo Empire, and these are cities that are bigger than many cities in Europe.
Yeah.
So but when they brought this thing, they tried to brainwash us, and even when our own Samuel Ajayi Crowther interpret the Bible to Yoruba, we still don't get it sink into our consciousness that we already have these things here before the Bible came, right? Now, not only that, even the democracy they brought to us right now, we are still battling with it because we already have our own structure of governance before this, but they destroy all this structure. So it is my expectation that the educated Nigerian, it is high time we should sit down. If we don't know where we are going, we should know where we are coming from. Let's go back to the history. Yeah, there are some stuff that is bad in our administration in the past or in our system, but let's adjust it. Indian people, there is nowhere in the world, no political analyst can analyze Indian political system except Indian people.
Okay, finally, gentlemen, before we go, my producer is giving me signal that we're out of time. Is African religion fetish?
It is not. It has not been understood by Western minds, and Africans are not ready to dig deep and unearth what God had blessed them with.
How about you?
Absolutely, because I have a friend then, he said, if by worshipping Olokun, right, and in truth and faith, he said his mom would surely go to heaven because he was dedicated and he never thinks of evil of anybody.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Obi and Ebenezer Badewa. Viewers, we have been looking at the changing face of religion in Nigeria, activities of the leaders of the church and Muslims and the mosque, whether it is fitting of the God they serve. And my guests in the studio tonight have given it a very, very good measure. And we have come up with many issues here. And frankly, the one that touched me most is that they said that African religion is not fetish. And as a matter of fact, even using the kola nut as prayer point is not fetish. And I guess you will join us in Twitter, on Facebook, and Instagram in your reactions. I leave that to you viewers, and I'm happy that you're with us. And I want to thank my guest, my Obi Nzeadibe and Ebenezer Badewa again, and my able producer behind the camera. It is yours sincerely, Joe Ehizode on Political Arena, examining the changing face of religion in Nigeria. Have a good night.